Hello everybody, it's jrobi. I'm going to take you through a good match, very tactical from beginning to end. There wasn't really any obvious blunders or anything like that. All the attacks, the good attacks, came from a sequence of moves. So we'll go through it here and see what you think. So I'm jrobi and I'm white, and I do king's pawn opening, and my opponent plays c6, and I'm not exactly sure what that is called for openings. I don't think it's the French. Not too sure. I have to check into my openings. Anyway, I go into d4. He plays to d5. I don't want to lose that pawn, so actually I just move it to e5, which is a good place for it because it stops his knight from coming out here, which is good. So the only way he'll be able to do something with this square is if he captures with this pawn here. So he goes knight to d7, and I play knight to c3. Now he moves out his f-pawn, attacking that, and I don't take. I just go knight to f5. The reason why I don't take is I just don't want to bolster up his center pawn presence here. And he takes now on e5. I just take with my knight because it's got a pawn protecting, so it's a little bit of an outpost here. He trades off knights, and then he plays e6. Now, e6, by doing so, this bishop here is kind of blocked in now. So I go bishop d3, and now he plays aggressively with his pawn, attacking my knight. So I put the knight on the e4, eyeballing up the d6 square as an outpost, because now that his pawns are gone from here and here, that's a strong spot for my knight to be. So he plays knight to e7, kind of a cramped move, but he doesn't really have a lot of choices right now because his bishop is tied down and his knight can't come to f6. So he goes to e7, and I take the opportunity to castle, which is the castling aspect here plays an important role in the game. Not necessarily my castle, but you'll see that his is delayed for quite a while. So he goes now knight to d5, and I just put an attack on the queen. It's a developing move, and it makes him take a turn saving his queen or bringing his bishop out to save the queen. And he brings the bishop out, and at this point I like the open area that I have here, so I just take, and he takes with his queen. Now I go queen to f3, and I'm basically grabbing a hold of the f-file. He goes bishop to d7. He doesn't have a lot of options. I think he was just doing that to get his piece off the back rank in preparation for a castle. However, got a nice combination attack coming up now. So knight to its outpost that I was eyeballing up earlier lands a check, and he can't take with his queen, otherwise he just loses his queen. So he has to move the king to the only available square, d8, which leads to another good attack, which is the knight check fork, and he can't take the knight with the queen because it just goes down a queen. So once again he has to move the king again. So he actually takes the king off the back rank and loses the rook. Now from this position he takes back the knight, but his rook here, it's going to take him at least one move to get this rook into action onto these squares here. So once again, in terms of development, he's having to use a lot of extra moves. So I go to c4 now, attacking his knight, and he attacks my queen. And I don't want to pull her back because that would be it wouldn't be good for my development, because his queen still has access along that diagonal to where the action is going to be. So I just move the queen to g4, and now he moves his pawn up to g5. I guess baiting me to take it with my queen, but I just take his knight. So I guess if there is a kind of a blunder in the game, that's one of them. He takes back, so now he's doubled up his pawns, and he's opened up his bishop to attack my queen. And I can tell that he really doesn't like my queen where it is at, and that just makes sense because the queen, where it sits, is really impacting a lot of the play area here. So I just move the queen, take the pawn on d4, and I strengthen in the process this pawn, so the queen can't just come down and take it and give herself access to this area. So he moves his king back into the natural castle position. Took him 3 moves to do that though. So now my goal is to get my pawns into a better position. So from here you'll notice that all these pawns are on dark squares and he's got a light square bishop. And so I was just trying to consolidate my pieces onto dark squares to weaken the bishop. So he comes in with an attack on the rook. I just move my rook to a dark square now. So the bishop is really weak in terms of what can be done with it. So he takes and I take. The g file is opened up. He checks, and I move to h1. And now he brings his rook down. I want to get some stuff going here. So I play pawn to e6. Now I do this for 2 reasons. Number 1, it opens up the diagonal for my queen. But number 2, he's going to take this pawn most likely. And when he does, and he takes this square, it'll let me get in some good stuff with the queen, as you'll see. So he does take. I come into the back now, and he moves his king up, and I just take the pawn. Pushes his rook back, and I offer a rook for rook trade. I want to consolidate here and simplify. So he checks, and I had to be careful at this point. What I did at the time is I moved my bishop back, blocking the queen, and because I was in check, so I couldn't just come down and take the bishop. So I moved the bishop back, and from here he pulls his bishop back, and I start to move my pawn up. He sees the problem with that though, so now he's got 2 pieces attacking that square. I've got 2. But I move the queen back to h7, still allowing her to attack that square, but now the bishop's pinned. So I could pretty much march this up. He sees that and goes to queen f6. And from this point, I'm actually I go to g2. I'm going to let him take that pawn if he wants to do a trade, which he does. So I trade that off, but then I land a check and attack the bishop just to move it around a little bit. And now I start to march the pawn up. In this position, this is the only pawn that I'm concerned about. These 3 pawns here, I know that I can at least delay and slow down with these pawns. So I simplify the position more. I lose a bishop for a pawn, but my rook here is protecting the h7 square. So I know I'm either going to promote or he's going to go down a bishop. So I move up to h6. He goes to c4, attacking my rook and my pawn. I move the rook. He takes the pawn, and now my pawn is 1 step away from promotion. He sees that there's not really anything he can do here, so he starts to move his pawn. So I promote, and now we come in for some attacks here. Now I could have taken the pawn here, but I just check. I wanted to see which side of the board he was going to try to do something with his king. So he goes back to b4, which is a good move for me, because I just take the pawn now, check. His king goes to the only available square, a4. He can't go anywhere else. This is blocked, 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 blocked. So from here I go to h7. He goes to c3. I don't know why I went to h7, to be honest. I think it was just more of a waiting move. I wanted to see what he was going to do. Was he going to pull out his bishop here and give his king access to the bottom, or was he going to move his pawn? So that was really what I wanted to wait and see what happened. So he moves his pawn, check, block, checkmate. So it was a good game. It was no major blunders. There was that one knight he lost with a pawn, but other than that, it was pretty good tactical play all through. So hope you enjoyed the match. Take care.